Today I'm going to be teaching you how to twist and backflips. I'm going to walk you step by step through how to do one twist all the way up to 4 twists, so stay tuned. To start, I'm going to teach you how to do a backflip with one twist, which looks like this. Alright, let's talk about the takeoff. What you want to do for the takeoff is, just like the backflip, you want to lean your chest back and push your hips forward to get that backflip rotation. And you want your arms to go 45 degrees up here, and you want them to go kind of out to the side like this, so you have more range of motion to pull for the twist. So you want to be kind of like a 45 degrees wide, and you want most of your power to go into height and only a little bit into rotation. Here's an example of what that looks like. Now let's talk about the flip itself. What you want to do for the flip is, once you're up here, you want to pull your arms down to the side. That's how you generate your twist. That takes your flipping momentum and turns it into a twist. So what you want to do is you want about half of your rotation power to go into flip and about half of it into twist. Now how you manage that is all about the angle that you throw your arms. What you want to do is you want to throw your arms at about a 45-degree angle, so you get a good mix of both. And then you want to, after the 180, you want to spot the ground so you see where you are and you can adjust. Then you want to keep twisting, and then once you see the ground, that's when you open up and land. Here's an example of what that looks like. I exaggerated the time that I saw the trampoline at the start of the flip. You want it to be faster than that in reality. Now let's talk about how to open up and land the flip. What you want to do is you want to kick out just like a backflip. That slows your flipping rotation down, but you're also twisting. So what you want to do is you want to open up your arms like a T-pose. That creates more drag and slows your twist down. So if you combine those two at the same time, it's going to land you straight, and then you want to absorb as normal. So when you put it all together, it should look like this. Now let's move on to the double fold. Here's an example of what that looks like. Now the set for the double fold is very similar to the set for the single fold. The only difference is, instead of having most of your power go into height, now you're going to have half of your power go into height and half of your power go into rotation. Here's an example of what that looks like. Now how you do the flip is very similar to how you do the full. The only differences are your legs are going to be straight so that you can twist faster, so you can make those 2 twists around. It also makes your twist smoother. The other difference is, instead of having half of your rotation power go into twist and half into flip, now you want most of it to go into twist and a little bit into flip, so that you can get those 2 twists around. Now how you manage that is, instead of the full where you would go 45 degrees like this, instead you want to pull more to the side like this. You still want to go down a little bit because you still want to rotate, but you want to pull down to the side like this more so that you can twist faster and make those 2 twists around. Here's an example of what that looks like. Now finally, to land the flip, all you need to do is keep your legs straight and open up your arms to stop your twist. Here's an example of what that looks like. So when you put it all together, it should look like this. Now let's move on to triple full. Here's an example of what that looks like. To start, let's work on the set. What you want to do for the set for a triple full is different than a single or a double, because you need to go off axis and you're adding an extra twist. So what you want to do is, instead of throwing straight up like this, and going straight over your head. What you want to do is you want to throw like this so that you can go off axis and still be able to get that snap for those 3 twists. So what you want to do to get some backwards rotation is you want to lean back as you're throwing this arm. This is less, this would be more. And then you want to start your takeoff earlier than you would for a single or a double, because you want most of your power to go into rotation instead of 50-50 like a single or a double. And you want, just similar to a double, but a lot more, is that you want a lot more of your rotation power to go into twist than flip. Double full, it's a little bit like closer to 50-50, but here you really want to exaggerate that so that you can get 3 full twists around. Now here's an example. Now the flip itself is pretty similar to a single or a double full. The only 2 differences are, instead of pulling down to the side like this, what you want to do is you just want to wrap straight. So you're going to be like here, and then you're just going to want to pull straight across with a straight arm, and then you're going to want to wrap like this into an X. That's what you want to do for all of them, wrap into an X. And then what you want to do is, since most of your power is going into rotation, you really want to do that really early instead of waiting like a single or a double full. Here's an example of what that looks like. Now the open up for a triple full is the same as a double full, where you just want to keep your legs straight and open your arms up and spot the trampoline so that you can guide it to your feet. Here's an example of what that looks like. Now let's move on to quad full. Here's an example of what that looks like. Now, the set for quad full is really similar to the set for triple full. The only 2 differences are, you're going to be more off axis because you're putting more of your rotation power into your twist rather than your flip, and you're going to be putting more of your overall power into rotation rather than height, even more so than triple full. Here's an example of what that looks like. And the flip and come out for quad full is the exact same, except for you just hold for 1 more twist. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Comment down any questions below, and I'll see you in the next one.